Howdy everybody, it's Dalia. So you'll notice in this episode we are missing Sky's audio. Unfortunately, in the transfer process, things happen. But you can still hear her in the background, so we're going to do our best to mix the audio so that you can hear her in the back of Antonio and my microphone. And we hope you enjoy. But not really, because it's the Poughkeepsie Tapes. Anyway, here you go.
How about this DILF question?
DILF?
Ah, yes.
The palate cleanser before whatever is about to happen.
Who's everyone's favorite Disney DILF?
Disney
And
DILF?
I said no animals, so you cannot be out here fucking saying Mufasa and shit, because I will block you.
Immediately
report you.
blocked.
I'm
Mufasa
calling
blocked.
the police.
Little John blocked.
Antonio, I'm sorry. Were you about to say Mufasa?
No.
Tell us.
I don't know.
You don't.
Gilly.
You don't want to go first?
No. I don't really have a favorite Disney DILF.
God, you're...
I guess, like...
Well, where do I start?
I think I'm gonna go with Tarzan's dad. In the beginning of the movie.
I
With
cannot...
that fucking-
Very short.
gun to my head, I have no idea what that man looks like.
Just bring up a picture.
Look it up, Antonio.
With that fucking hand, I can ride my bike with no handlebars. No handlebars.
He's
That
got
fucking
this, like,
mustache.
really crazy, awesome, insane, like, facial hair.
He's Tarzan with
Oh, he
facial
has a
hair.
mustache, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Does he have, like, red hair?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's literally Tarzan, but with like facial hair.
Yeah. His
Like
dad
short
was
hair.
hot.
I like how if you Google Tarzan's dad,
Tarzan.
it comes up as Kerchak.
That's his stepdad.
No, it comes up as Tarzan's dad.
You're not my
It still comes up.
real dad. When will it stop?
Oh, he doesn't have red hair.
Oh,
He does not.
Oh, his mom has red hair.
I thought he had red
Mom's
hair.
hot too.
His mom is also hot.
His mom's fucking hot.
Fucking.
Mommy?
Is everyone in that movie just hot?
Yeah, except for
You-
the fucking professor.
Just not
dude.
the
Except for
animal.
the animals. Antonio, yeah, strike one, Antonio. Strike one.
Anyway.
You know what? I actually don't want to hear it from you because weren't you the one that talked about that tiger from Zootopia?
I
Not
am.
speaking of DILFs. Not speaking of DILFs.
No animals, Quetzal.
Aftercare. That tiger is the definition of aftercare.
Top of my list is the tiger from Zootopia. The man looks like he's got a 401k. He's got some investments, some
Security.
secure job lined up.
Okay.
50 stripes of black and white and orange.
Okay. Well, is that your final answer?
The tiger?
Oh no. The tiger, King Triton's always up on time. I'm gonna give it to me.
Oh.
I do be loving King Triton. I'm very excited to see him in live action.
He does have a good body.
He's got a good, and the fact that it's Javier Bardem.
I don't think I know him. So, interesting. I'll have to look
You
that
don't
up.
know Javier Bardem?
Bro, I don't watch
He's been-
movies, period. So,
He's also known as Penelope Cruz's husband.
I was gonna say.
I don't know him, dude.
He's like one of the big Spanish actors.
Icky. So, on to me. On to mine.
Roger from 101 Dalmatians.
Oh.
Ooh. Stunning.
Ooh, stunning.
Suicide. What about you, Dalia?
Definitely had a crush on Roger. Me, it would have to be I know he's not a daddy in sense of biological father, but like daddy as in I'm your father figure. The brother from Big Hero 6. I forget his name.
It starts with a T, right?
I'll find out for you.
Oh, here he is. This guy.
Yeah, him.
It sucks that he died.
It sucks that most
Tadashi.
of these people have died.
He was hot.
He was hot. And he was nice. And he was smart. And he was gifted. And then he was
respectful.
murdered.
Ah! It was a really tragic fucking death, too.
Yeah, it wasn't good. It was a fucking explosion. Sorry, if you haven't seen the movie, too bad. You're on a podcast of spoilies, so yeah, it's definitely Tadashi. He can get it. Period.
Are they supposed to be like father figures?
No, they can have the daddy energy. It doesn't have to be like
Dad
they have to have
or
kids.
daddy?
Tadashi
So-
didn't have kids.
Antonio.
Does Phoebus from Hunchback count?
Yes,
He does. That's
he
a good
does.
Yes, he certainly does.
He's a
I
handsome
had to look
man.
at a list
He's-
of like Disney men. And
He's-
I was like,
He's very mlem.
He got a bad haircut though.
Look,
I've
we're not
seen
going
worse.
to talk about
So do
that,
you,
but
we love you anyway.
I was going there. Not fair. I said I've seen worse, and then you had to be like,
I have to
We
go.
were all racing. Oh, except for Dalia. Me and Antonio were racing to get you.
Y'all always are racing to get me.
Sometimes we race. Sometimes we pass the baton to each other.
sometimes it's teamwork, sometimes it's 1v1v1.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Hey y'all, welcome to Sit Down Loser. We're watching a movie. My name's Dalia.
I'm Sky.
I'm Antonio.
And I'm Ketzel. And we're just four murderous looners who watch movies that everyone else has watched, except one of us is a loser who hasn't. Today we're watching a movie that is quite the sleeper horror movie that's recently been making a comeback. The Poughkeepsie Tapes, released in 2007, directed by John Eric Dowdle. And today's loser is, by popular demand,
It's me. Hi. I'm the loser again. It's me. It's Dalia. Hi.
hi, yeah.
Yeah, we know.
Yeah.
All right, you guys.
Fun fact, just in case you didn't know what the word lunar is, that's someone who has a fetish for balloons.
I hate knowing that. You teach me the worst things, Antonio. Like the thing about the vomit
I teach
that
many
one time.
things. Some of them really good,
this-
some of them not so good.
Name one good thing.
I don't think I've ever heard of one good thing, except for cooking stuff. But that's cooking stuff.
Oh,
That's how
there
we
you
bond.
go. There's cooking stuff.
That's one good thing at least. That's maybe several.
A lunar.
Oh, like a ballooner. Gotta keep an eye out for
A
the
lunar.
ballooners.
Pennywise. Is Pennywise a lunar or what?
It's just so hard. You're becoming a hive mind at this point.
Yeah, when it's four people racing each other, it's just chaos.
It's a
like Mario
never-ending
Kart.
relay race.
It's more
Perfect. Ka 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 ka.
This has been a long time coming, this one. So it's a pleasure to have you here, loser.
Hi, yeah.
What? How does it feel like being a loser for the first time?
Oh my god, like the first time, it feels like such an honor because everybody has to listen to me.
Anyway,
Do we have
so
to?
why did we pick this? I'm so glad you asked. It's a found footage / mockumentary horror, and
Our fave.
we really love that. Actually, I don't. Dolly, do you love that?
I didn't ask for this.
Okay,
You
well-
guys pushed it on me. You're like,
Well-
the Poughkeepsie Tapes, though. And I'm like,
No.
How do you feel about found footage,
the
though?
found footage?
that is a good question. I find
Also glad you
it,
asked.
I find it very eerie. I think it's one of my more favorite types of horror movies just because I think that there's a lot of excitement behind the POV standpoint, right? So like you don't know what's happening behind the person looking in the POV, like that's all you see. There's just something so sinister about like walking through the woods and not being able to see around you, and then suddenly the whole camera's all shaky and stuff and you're like, I don't know what's going on.
Are you flashing back to Blair Witch?
Actually, no.
See,
The first movie
yeah.
I think of when I think of found footage is Grave Encounters, which is one of my
Then where the hell did the
all-time
Great
favorites.
flick.
come from?
Great flick.
Where? Because it's always a forest, and I always go. Go straight to Slender Man. I showed you guys that picture of me on Facebook,
The Marble Hornets.
As Slender Man.
The picture on my phone.
and you're welcome.
My favorite pictures of you. That's
Grave
like pure
Encounters is a
terror
good
on
one.
your face. It's so funny.
So yeah, I do like found footage. Mockumentary. Also, yeah, because that's the whole Grave Encounters thing. I don't know what it was about that really just kind of made that my thing. And also VHS, like we've watched VHS, the newest one that came out together. So that's found footage.
94.
94, yeah.
Was that?
I
Please
like
see
it.
Was it
also our
99?
Blair Witch episode with Why the Flick.
We watched 99 together.
Absolutely, yeah.
Oh, it was just the two of us.
So it was 94. You're right.
It was 94 with all of us.
And so that was really
Miss Ratma.
Miss Ratma.
Hell, Also, while this is a very unknown film that was brought to me from the depths of hell from Antonio, who placed it to me and said, "You want to see it? You want to play a game?" It has been making its rounds on TikTok, so it's been.
I don't. Ugh. We've already been burnt. So the three of us watched Skinamarink, and I did not care for it. I barely.
None
think
of us
it.
did.
None of the three of us did. I do understand that there are those people out there that really enjoyed it or like thought it was really
Y'all
cool.
can suck my dick.
Yeah, you can go sit in a corner. I would.
Sit in my dick.
I'm good on that. But
I will just tell them to go sit in a corner. Go
Yeah.
sit in a corner and I don't know, talk about your experimental horror movies all over again. There.
But this one, though, making its rounds on TikToks, it's something.
If
and
you
it's
were-
better than
It's
Skinamarink.
been something.
If you were
It's
to
been
make
something.
someone watch one movie over the other, it's this one, is what you're saying.
yeah.
Yes.
I
'Cause you
also
won't be
was
bored,
not.
at least.
I was not one of those people that watched Skinamarink. Y'all were talking
Good.
about you. Oh, so I can just miss it and be fine.
Yes.
Yeah, you'll be.
Yes.
You can
Do
totally.
you want to waste an hour and 44 minutes of your life?
No.
Then
I'd
I'll
rather
it.
watch a Yule
Then don't.
log.
I
Like
would
those
rather
like
watch
Yule
a Yule
like a
log.
Yule log video. Like I don't care Disney, How to Train Your Dragon, you fucking
Fuck it
Studio
up, fuck it
Ghibli.
up.
Fuck it up, fuck it up, fuck it up.
Fuck it up, fuck it up, fuck it up.
I could just
Because-
watch.
Because with the Yule log or like something of that nature, you have the expectation that nothing is going to happen. That is the only thing you'll be seeing. Whereas when we watch Skinamarink, we're like, now something's gonna happen though.
And it
But
gave
it
me
didn't
nothing.
Me and Tony were like, we've had enough, and we both looked it up on Wikipedia. I didn't.
And let me
So
say,
the payoff
15 minutes into
was
the movie.
bad.
there was no payoff. Like, it's not even a bad payoff because there was no payoff. And also, anytime something little happened, Scott would go, and that is the best way to describe it.
Like if I had to watch Skinamarink by myself, it would have been 3 times worse because the fact that like
We
you
would
know,
have quit.
That
I
sounds
probably
sad.
would have just been bored.
That's sad. Sorry.
I would rather make us all watch Titanic again than watch Skinamarink again ever in my life.
I've had enough of hearing about Titana in this lifetime. So,
See you,
Titana. What's the next thing?
I feel you. Please don't feel me. It's terrifying.
Stop feeling the car. Stop feeling the car.
Stop feeling chopsticks.
Stop.
Mama, this is unsettling. This is the most. I can speak only for me, but this movie's it's probably the most horrific movie I've ever seen.
This movie, we watched in 2020. So
This
the
was
world
the first
already
movie.
So bleak.
Was
Yeah.
this the first movie?
This was
This
Yes,
is the
it
first
was.
movie.
This started our Saturdays.
This was like the very first movie? So,
Yeah.
And in 2020, I don't know if you guys missed it, but there was, like a pandemic. And
Really?
everything was shut down.
What?
Yeah, dude, it was crazy. It was a blink
Damn.
and miss it moment in history.
I
must have blipped.
I blunked. I blunked too hard.
You blunked, you blipped. But the world was already so bleak. And then watching this made me feel, like, empty inside. Like, this movie makes me feel, like, empty.
And now you're
Yeah,
making me
and-
watch it. Probably
That's
the
why
most,
you're drinking.
probably the most optimistic
That's
of us
why-
all.
And hey, we didn't put this as a point, but this is another special drunk episode.
Yes.
I've been drinking.
Well, we're about to be when we come back from our break. We will be
Zooty Nickeloody.
zooty, a little bit zooty.
Y'all see that video that I sent you where it was like the guy says everything but the word drunk, and he's like, "Are you guzzled?" my guy, are you blitzed? Liddy. We'll watch that in the break.
That's funny.
It's funny. We'll
Also,
watch it.
Before we go on to our final point, I also want to say that on my fated Disney trip with Antonio and Sky, on the way to Disney, I was describing the summary of this movie to Sky, and at some point, she
No,
goes,
you just described one scene in particular to me.
I described one scene, which we'll talk about after, and she just goes, "What?"
Well, I'm
So,
telling you,
be
was fast
prepared.
asleep in the backseat.
Knock
was
the
I?
fuck out.
Oh.
You slept the whole way there.
Oh, so your modes when you're traveling are sleeping in the back seat or main character energy listening to my own soundtrack.
One of my favorite moments from
I-
our trip to LA to see Lady Gaga was when we were talking in the front seat, and I was like, "You good back there?" And you were like, "Yeah, I'm just being my main character." And we were like, "Good for you." And then you fell asleep, and me and her were talking, and then like 30 minutes later, I'll hear you say something, and we were both like, "Ah!" I don't remember what you said, but you were like...
I probably
Something
was
popped
listening
up.
like for a little while. I was like, oh, this is a good time to enter time.
Yeah.
Oop, jump scare.
I do be like acting like my main character in whenever I travel. Like I read at the airport. I read on fucking planes. And,
How
like,
very that of you.
Yeah,
She's
it's-
different than other girls.
that's like the only fucking time I can read like without any interruption.
think
You
so.
know why? Because I have no control over anything happening. I have, get up and move from this seat to the next seat. Okay, cool. We're gonna be on this seat for anywhere from 2 hours, 3 hours to 8 hours. So read.
Don't talk to me, I'm reading.
I'm not a movie person on airplanes. In fact, I don't think I've ever watched a movie on an airplane.
When Ketzel and I were waiting in line to get into the stadium for Taylor Swift, there was a girl who was sitting in the front of the security entrance in her line, and she was sitting there reading. And I was like, "Damn, that's smart."
Dude, I like sometimes I just
I
want
was
to bring a
reading
fucking book
too.
to a bar.
I
That-
was reading too,
You
Sky.
will not-
Were you
She was
reading?
No, she was reading like a physical book. You were reading.
On your phone.
Shop.
Look, when you see someone on their phone, you're not thinking
No,
they're
They
reading.
were.
What
Publication.
I
kind?
was. Bag
Oh, yeah,
and
what
shield.
kind, Ketzel?
Bag and shield.
Oh my god. What do I know about this movie? Just kidding. We have one more point. 16th anniversary.
Yeah.
I see here.
Premiered.
Fucking
Premiered.
premiered in May
Fuck it up, fuck it up, fuck it
2007.
up.
So she's
Happy
16.
birthday.
She can drive.
Cause when you're 16,
And in love.
somebody tells you they love you. Don't sue me, Taylor. It's actually 15, so. Anyway.
Oh. What do you know about this movie?
I'm so glad you asked. Poughkeepsie is a city.
The name on everyone's lips.
I think it's a city in New York.
In New York.
And
You can't keep doing that. You cannot.
I don't.
Because it's so stagnant.
I don't know what the geography is of the place, but to me it reads. I haven't seen any trailers, but I feel like maybe I've had blips of it. I don't know. Of trees. Lost in the woods. I don't know. Apparently, there's a fetish for balloons, and they're called looners, and I just found that out.
Oddly enough, it's only in like one scene of the movie, I think.
And they're
And I think it's
And it's
pops up really-
powerful. It's
it's so
powerful.
powerful. It's so powerful. You
It's so
pulled it.
powerful. It happens in like it's all of like 30 seconds, but it sticks with you for a hot second, and you're just like, huh.
You're like, I'm not gonna be forgetting this.
I'm not gonna forget that. So I think that's all I know. Besides what we talked about, like the found footage. That's pretty much all I know about it. I don't think I've ever seen a trailer. Maybe it was something on Netflix that I'd seen, and I was like, oh no, I'm not watching that.
There is a trailer for this movie.
No, there's a trailer. It just
No,
doesn't
they
do it
exist.
justice.
It's
It
so
looks
bad.
crunchy.
Oh
It
looks crunchy.
So it's like
2007.
I could also be conflating this with something I'd seen about Poughkeepsie, but some other story. So I don't know. I don't know what to expect from this. I know it's a scary movie, so I just expect it to be exactly what we talked about. I'm really going into this knowing none of the storyline at all. I don't know anything.
so
Cute.
beautiful. It's like trail mix. That trailer's like trailer mix, but the movie itself is like Chex Mix.
So better than expected?
Yeah,
That was good, Antonio.
that was good. I'm shocked.
Poetic.
Does this Chex Mix have the bagel chips?
The bagel chips.
Does this Chex Mix have the bagel chips?
Not enough of them. It's like the balloons.
Oh, okay.
All right.
That Antonio's milk is working, and now it's going sour.
I want another
Sky.
one.
Far, the Rotten Tomatoes score is 67%, audiences gave it a 50%.
Fuck.
And then Google users gave it an 86%.
And there's the accurate one.
My oh my. It seems that people generally are not total fans of it, but it seems like the culty classics. Those people are talking on Google. I didn't say
you're not gonna have fun,
but like
That's why audiences don't like it.
sometimes you watch a film and it's really hard to watch, and you're like, "Wow, that was actually really good." Like The Black Phone. Never ever shut up about that movie. Good story.
This
Shout
is
out
no
to
Black
our
Phone.
previous drunk episode.
This isn't Black Phone. This is like more like Titanic.
Antonio.
So some actors, which you won't know, and I don't either, and I've seen this twice. Ben Messmer, Stacy Chabotsky, Ivan Broger.
You know what's so funny is I actually don't recognize any of these names.
No, you wouldn't.
That's actually really funny because we don't either.
Perfect.
And that's what makes this movie so good, is that it just seems real. It just seems so
It's very
real.
Blair Witch-esque in the way that
Very
you
bad.
don't know these no-name nobodies, and it's okay because they're selling
There
you
you
the
go
story.
again.
You're not like, that's fucking Brad Pitt and he's dying. You're like, this is a real-life person I could have known in college dying.
I can't wait for later.
Yeah.
And he's dying.
I'm drunk.
What are your
Already?
expectations?
No, I'm very
Monfer?
buzzed.
Oh, that's funny.
So glad you asked, Mon Ami. I don't have any. I think that I'm gonna get spooked. I think I need to have a blankie with me so I can cover my face.
A
But my
shock
hands,
blanket.
work is just as well. So, I'm glad we're watching this while there's still daylight
Good
hours.
for her.
But other than that, I don't know. I don't have any expectations. I feel like maybe I'm gonna be grossed out by the balloony thing, but I don't know. Maybe it's just because you had brought this to my attention right now before I watched the film. So that's all I'm fixated on. Balloonies. Looners.
Which one of the four of us looks like they'd most likely be a lunar?
Ketzel.
Oh my god. To ask me this when I come back. I don't want
No,
to.
what-
I don't know.
What about me?
I have to see it
Gives that
in
energy.
context to be like, oh.
When I think of balloons, it makes my teeth hurt.
I get really scared because they pop, and I don't like that sound.
I think they're inconvenient.
They're cute.
They're cute from afar.
Yeah. They make me anxious.
I don't like the.
I don't like loud
So it
sounds.
couldn't be me. Because people that are looners, they fucking nut at that sound.
That's
I only said you because
Orgasm at the pop.
balloons goes together.
That's fair. I understand that.
yeah. So no expectations. I need another beverage though to watch this because y'all been setting it up like it's.
We're gonna
Actually, I do
like-
have an expectation
Like 3 more beverages.
because you guys have talked about this so much in such a way. I feel like very compelled to be like, I need to drink because I think I need to mentally prepare myself for this. I feel
I
like
feel like
No.
we're gonna come back and Dolly's gonna be like, and
Yeah, I was going to say, do you think she's even going to enjoy it?
yeah. What are your expectations about what I'm gonna think about it?
that's what I think.
What? Yeah.
I'd be like,
Are you on the
"Come
same
you
page?"
Cry, little cry babies. You're gonna come on and
Why
do
was
this.
it sad?
Well, it's not sad. It's just
Why cry?
bleak.
There's no cry.
Antonio's making a face.
I don't know. I don't know how Dalia is gonna go, but I don't generally like try to like project where someone's gonna go with like their feelings. Why? Because I don't generally care.
He's like, I want to know where you end up, not how you get there.
Yeah, I would love to. Yeah, I don't want to guess where you're gonna end up. I'll just deal with where you are afterwards. Will she be a little bleak? Maybe. Will she be like meh? Maybe.
We'll find out.
Now,
in
will
like
I
30
want to see
seconds.
your live reactions? Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely. I would love to be
I'll
there.
be staying on for that.
I will definitely be paying attention, just like someone where they're watching someone on a balloon.
And you're welcome? Question mark.
Okay, goodbye.
Bye.
See you soon. Hi. It's me.
Hello.
I'm the problem. It's me.
I might start crying.
Oh no, it's me.
Don't
Hi.
cry
I'm the
again.
problem. It's me.
Bro,
Not again.
Bro.
It's
Okay.
okay. Baby girl.
it didn't have to be like this. What did you do to me?
I feel like I'm not
What
allowed to
did you
suggest
do?
movies anymore.
We all wanted to do. We all suggested it, and I feel bad.
Taylor Swift wrote "Anti-Hero" for you.
No, here's the thing. I'll take full responsibility for this one because I bumped this one up.
I take
boy.
full responsibility for this one because I was the first person to watch it. Did you watch it separately from me, or did I tell you about it and then you watched it?
You told me about it, then I watched it, and I take full responsibility for encouraging all of this.
You guys made me cry.
So it's all of our faults. Okay, got it.
You
Got
made
it.
me cry.
And we broke our friend for
It
comedy.
hurt. You guys made a funny video, but it hurt. It was funny though.
Oh my god.
The video which you will be watching on social media.
God, I'm so excited to use the Azula dialogue. I feel like you.
I don't want to know. You tell me afterwards once you've made it.
There's one single tear
You're the
falling
only
down
one
her cheek.
that would understand it.
That's Avatar, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
I was gonna say that's Avatar. The
She's-
Fire Nation.
She's the crazy
That's
princess.
an
and she's
Avatar,
a-
right?
Yeah. She's the firebender princess, and the sound that makes the rounds on like Insta and TikTok.
I feel like I
is-
already like her.
You would like her.
She's got like this comeback going on, and people are feeling like bad for her, and I do too as an adult too, because trauma is different.
What's the sound?
It's the it's okay, you can laugh, it's funny.
I feel like I have heard that. You're right. I probably have heard that.
You can laugh.
It's funny.
It's funny.
Yeah, I have. I'm pretty sure I've heard that. I don't know much about Avatar, but I feel like I do like her from what I've heard.
You'd like Azula.
I like
You'd resonate with her. I
You'd
feel.
resonate with it, yeah.
Fire Sign.
Everyone else is the villain.
Y'all, can I have a tissue? Like my nose.
Yeah.
Is, my nose is leaking. I'm leaking. I'm leaking. Just keep this. Thanks. Let me just.
keep it right next to you.
Take
You
it.
got-
Take your time, baby.
You got
time,
Thin
baby.
Mints and tissues.
We got you some cookies.
There's some alcohol.
This is just trying to say. We're
Franklin left
sorry.
some ice cream.
We're sorry. We're
So
sorry.
basically-
Do you want some ice cream?
So,
Do you want
So-
some oatmeal
We're
cream
sorry.
pie ice
shh. We're back. We're back from this. My friends took me on an adventure, and I wouldn't say it was great. I would say it was a lot more. It hurt me. It hurt me. I didn't
But
think it would do this to me, but I didn't expect anything from it. I thought I was just gonna be sad and scared, but now I'm really, really sad and upset. How could you do this to me?
We're
You're really
sorry.
working that one tear rolling down your cheek.
Bitch, I'm wiping it off and it won't stop.
I'm hurt. Shut the hell up. We're all hurt.
You've seen this movie so many times, you're desensitized.
I've only seen it once. This was my second time, and let me tell you something.
That
I
was
do be
directed-
playing my
that
cousin's
was-
game in the middle of it because I was disassociating.
She was directing that towards me.
So
I will say.
I will
It doesn't matter how
say-
many
This
times.
is your
I will
name.
say.
I-
I will say. It doesn't matter how many times you watch it. You still feel just as shitty watching it.
The end.
I usually fall asleep before like that part, like towards the end. Before the end.
That's great. Let's go into the summary.
Let's just
Let's just get into it.
started.
May I? So this
Okay.
is. Thank you. So this, and you know what, Dalia? I thought maybe you'd appreciate this because you're a true crime junkie.
Yeah. I liked it at first.
Uh-huh. It feels like you're watching a true crime show from like you're watching like a Forensic Files, if you will, an unsolved mysteries, if you will. This is a true crime documentary like movie, and with like the full interviews and stuff, and it's all about the serial killer named Edward Carver who leaves behind 800 videotapes.
He has
in
a
his house in
name.
Poughkeepsie.
Well, that's the name that they find as the tenant of that house.
He does say his name is Ed at some point. So Carver, I hate that last name, but makes sense.
Well, it's the Water Street Butcher.
He carves people like they're turkeys.
You can move on.
Well, did you like the way it was filmed? Like, could you? It seems so realistic because they're all like non-actors. You know what I mean? They're actors, but they're not people you know. So it felt like I was
They're
fucking
actors,
watching.
not celebrities.
Surely, yes,
Yeah.
yes. I mean, hey, I've been to a local production of something. I saw Hello Dolly here in Las Vegas when it came through a minor play leagues. Fucking. It looked like an Unsolved Mysteries Forensic Files type of thing. It was a lot to handle, and I think at first I was like, I don't really know what to expect from it. But this guy, one of the FBI agents, was like, yeah, I had seen like 100 hours of it, and then my wife saw it and she wouldn't touch me for a year after that. So that's what's on these tapes. And I'm just like, bro, I'm like, first of all, why take it home with you? But also, I'm like, I'm disturbed, period. So at first, I was like able to take it in. Unfortunately, being a true crime kind of person, I've been a little bit desensitized by some stories.
Okay, I have two things. One, I will say I have stopped watching a lot of true crime stuff. And,
Agree.
Like, documentary and stuff.
Same.
And I'll tell you, my mood has gone up significantly. So, but the second thing is I wanted to ask you two, because I know you guys did watch it, because the TikTok I saw, or one of the TikToks I saw, they named this movie, which I was like, girl, you're just now discovering this movie? The second movie that they were like, this movie is so crazy, and then this other movie is so crazy. The other one was Megan is Missing. And I know you two watched that movie, and I refuse to watch that movie because human trafficking?
The side tells me everything.
I'm good.
Actually,
this is worse.
This is worse for you?
Yeah.
Dude.
Really? 'Cause
Okay.
I seen the
Okay.
screenshot
Okay.
of that movie, and I was like,
Dude,
Maybe-
really? This is
no.
worse for you?
bro, this is
Yeah,
heavy.
I think so.
No, this Megan is Missing is sadder to me. This is like subjective for me. I'm just like, okay. There's some things that break the found footage like rules for this, and I notice it at some points, but at the same time, it's one of those movies where
Will you be able to point those out later?
oh yeah, 100%.
Okay,
I will
okay.
tell
I just
you
wanted to be sure.
where my found footage, where
I'm
the found
curious
footage part
about
is
that.
just like it gets completely overwritten, and I don't care because I do, you know, for lack of a different word, enjoy this movie. I do applaud this movie for the
Antonio.
way it feels. That I actually like respect it
put together very well.
Yeah,
I
I would
respect
say
this
it's editing.
movie.
The editing,
compared to other found footage ones.
yes, it tells a story beginning to end, hard to take in, but it is good.
As we have said, the next hour and 26 minutes is all fucking snuff film and
Can
just
I-
generally fucked up shit.
Can I say something?
Sure.
Yeah, say your thing.
This felt like it was 3 hours long. Every time I was like,
Look, guys, we got to part 4, and I was like, oh my god, we're already here.
I was like, is this done yet?
Yeah, I will. And going back to our previous conversation, this is the torture porn movie of found footage. So I
It's-
think you can have that against
it's a
it.
lot.
There's so much. What is the word? And what is the thing leading exposition? There you go. Exposition
Yes.
to finally finding out about the killer. There's like at least 20 to 30 minutes of finding out about the killer and watching some of the films that actually he had filmed, and they are disturbing. And you know, people in the films be doing just the most human things. You cannot wrong them for that.
Yeah,
And,
and
like-
that's why I like this movie. The way the actors act their fucking ass off in this movie.
It's like, I can't talk to you. I'm
I
not
think the
allowed to
one
talk
guy
to strangers.
Who watched all the videos in particular. I was like, that guy looks distraught.
He really did.
He
looks
took work home with him, and it fucked him up.
Yeah.
And
That gives
his
sinister
share-
vibes
because
though.
of his
like,
wife.
taking home work with you, and like that's not like a thing that I want to ever have to deal with.
But
like
this is-
actually working
Yeah.
on something separately. I'll answer phone calls, sure, whatever. But like,
Antonio, this is a true life of some people. Like, actually, I don't know if you guys know, but like, there's a fucking job on Facebook to like look at all the videos that they post on Facebook and what is taken down. And people literally quit after like 2 weeks of
No shit.
monitoring and taking down those videos because they're just so awful. So yeah. Some people have the worst fucking jobs. So the fact that this guy was even able to do it that long, I was like surprised. But this is some fucked up shit. Like
kudos to the wife for staying with him after that.
the rest of this that we're talking about is fucked up shit. We're not even talking about the videos itself. Like the whole movie is the vibe. The whole movie is what you're seeing. Like
The
I don't
vibe
even
is despair, guys.
we can't even talk about it because you really have to see it to like fucking get it. It brought me to like fucking tears at the end.
So let's start with
Yeah.
let's start. Okay, so like we said, the next hour and 26 minutes of this movie is snuff films, general fucked upness.
I took no notes during this. This is the
I
first
I took
movie.
0 notes. Like fuck that.
I disassociated for most of it. But let's start with the opening scene, which is a funeral, and then it goes quickly into a video, which is a grave robbing.
Shut
Dalia, you
shut
wanna
up.
talk about your experience
Shut up.
during-
Now that hits different now, huh, Dalia?
Let
That
me
do
put
be
my-
hitting different now,
Let me
huh,
put my
Dalia?
cup down. Let
Wow.
me tell you.
To see this movie the first time ever again, I have no idea.
This felt like the first time for me because a lot of it I had blocked out. I was like, I don't remember.
Yeah, we had discussions in the middle of this film that I was like, oh shit, really?
Let me talk about this fucking grave robbing scene really quick. Okay. Ugh. Okay, so like it's literally the beginning of the movie, okay? We're watching somebody get buried. It's really, really sad. We're like I literally to myself out loud though, I said, "Oh, what a cliche." And you know what happened?
Mama.
Fucking the next scene is videotape of somebody grave robbing this freshly made grave. And like, you know, I would think that if somebody was using their cart to pull a body out of the grave, they were pulling out the whole casket, right? That's just dumb me, like just thinking about that, right? But it's a lot more logical and simple to just drag out the body. And so when I saw that this car was going vroom, 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 like and taking out the shut the fuck up, Sky. Shut the they were dragging out the
I'm not saying that.
stop. They were dragging out the body by the neck out of the grave. This dead deceased body. I was like, oh.
Not just any deceased body, Dalia.
Well,
It was Cheryl-
It is just it. Well,
It
no,
could
it's
have-
just a random body.
It could have been Cheryl Dempsey, but you know what? We find out later what happens to Cheryl Dempsey. The whole story is kind of revolved around her
Miss Thane.
because she's a very pivotal point in this plot. But like, my God, the fact that I saw that happen, I was just, my jaw dropped. I audibly was disturbed because I didn't expect to see that so
Disturbed.
soon. Like, horror movies, right? Anything could happen, right? Like, you know, somebody could be slit from their like throat to their belly, their intestines out, and you're like, oh, that's gross. But then like in the middle of the night, like quietly dragging somebody like by the neck out of their grave.
What's that sound again? How did the car go?
And
Can we get that one more
I
time?
don't like it.
all right. Okay,
Ugh.
so we start with the grave robbing. Went over that. Dolly had a really visceral reaction to that.
there's a lot of exposition about this guy and how they found this house and some tapes.
I
Enter.
hated this.
Oh, and these tapes were found in a house in Poughkeepsie.
Yes.
Surprise!
I said this
Surprise!
already. I
Surprise!
said this already.
Alright,
I said this in the
okay.
beginning.
All right, so
I'm so sorry. We're
Poodoo.
drunk.
Poughkeepsie to puppies.
Okay,
Poughkeepsie
let's start.
Tapes.
Okay.
the first
No.
tape, the first
Thank
tape,
you.
I'm gonna start from this point. The first tape
Right.
is honestly the one that makes me really sick, and I immediately started playing my Cubs game. Is the fucking goddamn child abduction? Because let me tell you, it's sick.
Ugh.
Electric chair.
If what we start with is child abduction, then you know it's not great going forward.
Absolutely.
We're going down, down.
Dolly just wants to get over it already.
I know. But
And like it was so bad. Like, okay, he comes to her. He's like,
There
"How
she
you
goes.
doing?" He's like, she's like, "I'm not allowed to talk to strangers." And he's like, "Oh, okay. Well, you're not allowed to have bad manners either, bitch." And I'm like, how could
He
you
didn't say
that?
the bitch. He didn't say
He
the
didn't
bitch.
say. He didn't say that.
He didn't say that. She just-
But like he is talking to an
he
actual.
might as well have.
He might
He's
as well
fucking
have.
Yeah.
asshole.
Because he's talking to a literal child, and she's like, "I'm not supposed to talk to strangers. Please, like, leave." So she's trying to be like kind because she's just a fucking child, dude. And at some point, he's like, "You want to see what's behind this camera?" And so he does that, and he punches her, and he abducts her, and it's awful. I was like, he's literally recording this abduction, and I was disgusted, and I thought this can't get any worse.
And it
then
did.
it did actually.
And
get
this was the
worse.
part that Sky said, "What?"
So okay.
when
so,
I described it.
So this was when we were driving to Disneyland. We were driving to Disneyland. Period.
Happiest place
Antonio
on
was
earth.
passed out in the back seat. I had freshly just told Ketzel about Hereditary and a couple scenes in that movie.
Love Hereditary.
Mm-hmm.
The scene I had described to Ketzel was the driving headed scene.
Yeah, I was already
Why
I was
would you
horrified
do
and
that?
upset.
described
I was
it to
horrified
Ketzel,
and
like,
upset.
I
Wait,
was
you
like-
hadn't seen that yet?
No, they hadn't seen it, and I described it to because they asked. I wouldn't have if they didn't ask.
Because I wouldn't have watched it
Because I
otherwise.
was like, I don't want to tell you. I want you to see it. And they were like, no, tell me. And I was like, all right, let me set you the let me set the scene. So I did. I set the scene. I told them, and they were just like, and this is when we were trying to sleep the night before.
You dumb bitch.
And they were like, so
Both
the next
of you.
day, we're driving to Disneyland. Antonio's passed out in the back seat. Ketzel's high as fuck sitting next to me. And Ketzel's like, let me tell you about this part in the Poughkeepsie Tapes. And I was like, okay. And they're telling me about this scene with the couple and the pregnant wife and the husband. And basically they tell me, I'm summing this up very quickly.
Please.
That he murders the husband, abducts the wife, and then cuts the husband's head off, takes the fetus out of the wife's stomach, and puts the husband's head into the stomach. And I just remember.
And then wakes her up.
And then wakes her up, and she wakes up to that. And Ketzel told me that, and in my mind, the imagery and just all of that, I was just like, what?
Wait, is that what I saw?
And,
Yep.
And let me tell you, the second time watching this movie, because the first time I think I was just like, I already know what's happening in this part. The second time watching this movie, I did not realize you could see the head when he wakes her up. And I was just like,
Dude, shut the fuck up. I did not see that.
I'm so glad you didn't, because the second time I saw it, I immediately went back to playing my Cups game.
Bro.
Horrific. And then when they go and
You
they
see-
talk about finding the body, and they're like, the skull in the stomach, they were like, it's
Was a
a
male's
man's
head.
skull, and they were like, it's not one murder, it's two. And I was like, the body on the autopsy table with the skull, I was like, goddamn.
I didn't
Happy
see
Halloween.
that. I didn't see that. So disgusting. He's like, you're gonna love what I did.
You're gonna love what you see.
Love the way you look. I
Thank you,
guarantee.
I know how it went.
You're gonna hate the way you feel, but you're gonna love the way you
I
look.
was like, I can't remember what the slogan was.
Yeah, I don't like it. I was so sad. I was like, oh,
Horrific.
no.
I think
This isn't even when Dalia is sad yet.
I didn't even cry yet.
This was like 30 minutes into the. I don't even think
This is
30
fucking minutes
movie.
in.
This was like the beginning.
So anyway, as he's murdering the fucking couple, right? Like before he even abducts this couple, he is so like annoyingly, this serial killer is so good at what he does. He's able to like hide and also leave clues and never be caught.
Goes
It's
above
so-
and beyond.
It's so fucking annoying how like clever he is at keeping his distance but leaving enough clues that they know that it's him. He signs while he's at a gas station pump hiding his
Which
face.
is what I did. Dahlia, this is what I did the last episode where you're like, what was that? Because it was a Poughkeepsie reference. It was
Dude, shut the fuck up. Don't even talk to me.
He literally was like, you gotta come catch me.
And he signed in sign language Red House, to which the people who were investigating these murders found a body behind the Red House Tavern, which was not totally far away, and it was very that, like, this guy's
It was
like
just
thinking
premeditated.
it didn't matter who it was, right? Like, they were gonna find a body behind the Red House Tavern, and he knew he knew it.
This movie, for anyone that is intrigued in true crime, it's let us make the perfect serial killer and do a mockumentary about it. Because literally he does everything. It's like a conglomerate of all these serial killers and their methods into one.
I hate to say it
Horrible
because
person.
even at one point, one of the interviewers was like, "Are you impressed by his methods of not being caught?" And she's like, "No!" Immediately. And I think that was the right reaction to have, but honestly, I hate myself for saying this. I'm just like, he's being fucking clever. But also, no.
And the reason why she says no is because of what he does to Cheryl Dempsey.
Into our next point. Hansel, take it away.
So the biggest sort of thread
Plot
we
point.
have in this one, plot point,
After
if
part
you
4
will.
is part 5,
The
and
most
it's
important-
Cheryl Dempsey.
Arc of this movie
Uh-huh.
is regarding Cheryl.
Cheryl is this 19-year-old young woman who he sneaks on into. He has been stalking her, and he sneaks on into her house and kills her boyfriend and abducts her. And perhaps one of the most... I truly feel like this movie is the closest I'll come to seeing like a snuff film. And that's why this is so disturbing. The abduction is fucking horrifying.
This part...
It's fucking horrifying.
This part, because I've only seen this movie once, and the one part I really took away from this movie was this whole, like, home abduction scene.
And you hate home abductions.
I hate, like, home invasion.
That's why I hate Hangman.
And that's why I refuse to watch Hangman, because I'm like,
It's all that.
It's the home invasion part of it.
But yeah, no, the home invasion part of this was, like, one of the things that stuck with me with this movie. Like, Cheryl's abduction, this whole scene really stuck with me, because
He's also wearing that horrifying mask, too.
Yeah, I remember specifically when he went to hide in the closet, and then he came out, and, like, it's too much. I don't like it.
This is why I still check my closets every day when every day I check my closet. Like, I literally brought my friend to come sleep over with me because we were going to do a sleepover, and I'm like, okay, you're not going to watch me do my routine of opening my closet, going behind my shower curtain that I do every day.
You know why? Because that is normal. I'm not gonna lie.
That is
I don't
anxiety.
think that that's out of the norm at all. I think that that's okay for you to do. It doesn't mean you're paranoid. You're just trying to be safe for your own life. Because you know fucking what? Let me take you back to Saw.
Oh, yes.
You don't like being watched?
Let me take you back to Saw when he's like, there's nobody in the closet. He didn't even check the fucking closet. Okay? I checked the fucking closet. Ketzel checked their fucking closet. And you know what? No one's behind the shower curtains. No one's behind the closet door.
Okay.
And
So
I can go to sleep at night. Done.
funnily enough,
Period.
this is one of the first moments of this movie that breaks the found footage rule for me.
Oh, okay. You gotta tell me. You have to.
Explain, expert, Professor
During-
Antonelli.
During the chase of her down the hallway, music starts playing. Now,
I didn't
That
even
could be the
notice.
documentary, though. It is a
that's
documentary.
disrespectful if they're creating a documentary to create music during the actual chase of an actual crime.
True.
But
That's
I feel
disrespectful. And you know this killer didn't go back and edit his VHS tape to add music to him chasing her.
I feel
No,
like
and
he
I
would
don't-
have, He would have though.
If he
But
would
here's
have
the
and
thing.
released
If
his
the
own documentary,
technology was there, he would have. He'd been like, let me. spice
Before
this
you
up.
go on, Antonio, I also don't think that this mockumentary in universe was putting in these clips of the killer. I think they're just embedded for us, but I don't think they're part of the documentary.
I
Personally,
think they're part of the
My thing
documentary.
is, you say it's disrespectful.
I don't think they would do that if they're trying to create
I
like.
do, because some documentaries are disrespectful.
Yes.
They do dramatizations, sure, and replace things, but I think when it's the actual crime being committed,
But if you're doing
if
it
they've
for,
done
like,
it, then I think there'd be like.
We don't have
in
real
this
footage
age-
of the abduction like that. Like, we don't see documentaries
It's
like that.
tasteless.
though,
You don't
because
see that sort of
this
stuff
one-
because it's all like evidence for crimes and
Yes.
everything.
Like,
so
and
this is
it's-
like kind of fake, but that breaks the rule for me.
Okay.
That breaks it. If someone is being chased down the hallway, there's not going to be music playing
He's right.
in
he's
any
right.
capacity.
I hate to say it.
God,
Anyway,
sorry.
what's
This
the
is
next point?
this is so
The
heated.
next
It's
point-
so heated because it's so fucking annoying. Because
Well-
he's such a perfect serial killer. It's so awful. Like he has absolutely nobody that he's picking on for no particular reason with no particular tools, but he is torturing them.
Okay, so
He is.
the last
and-
thing we went over was her getting
We're on the
abducted.
part where, yeah.
Where
So then,
What happens next?
there's a
the
there's
butcher
a whole
goes.
search.
Go ahead.
There's a whole search for Cheryl, of course, the family at the helm, right? And then we cut to a video from the killer, where he is going up to her fucking mother and being like, anything I can do to help? Because he's a piece of fucking shit. And her mom intuition is like, wait a second. And she realizes she's talking to her fucking abductor, and he laughs and runs away because it's fucking mental.
When he starts
that's-
chuckling, I'm disgusted because she's like,
Disgusted.
and like, oh, like the fucking intuition to know, like, oh, like the fact. Okay, serial killers always return to the scene of the crime,
That's what I was
so
gonna
of
say.
course he was gonna turn back and be like, "Can I help?" It's always somebody who's on the fucking rescue team. Disgusting motherfuckers. I was so angry, and when she was like, I didn't go after him because I was afraid of what he would do. Completely valid. Unfortunately, fucking Cheryl is still being subject to his torture at this
Yeah,
time.
and
She doesn't
What
even
he
know
does to her
that her
is
daughter is alive.
wild.
The first like scene of her being abducted and showing she's alive is a fucking exercise in like bondage or the fucking Army Hammer documentary reminds me of the Shinbok.
Okay, so you
Jesus
said that, but what the
Christ.
fuck do you mean?
So bondage
That's
is
bondage.
one thing.
It's like rope.
Yeah, rope
It's
play.
rope play and complete control. It's not just like handcuffs. It's not just like being handcuffed to the bed or anything. It's legitimate. Like your body you cannot move your body. You have no give. Is like rope play.
I would say like so that was the first one. So the second one is like when he's like yelling at her.
Yeah, he completely is
That-
not to get into details, but he's completely brainwashing her
That
to make her his slave.
that second
Yeah,
one.
he breaks her.
That second one, I completely like I deleted that out of my brain, and when I was listening to it, I was just playing.
Is
I was
this
once again
The
playing my cups
arms
game.
behind the back one?
No, that was the first one. The second one was when he
The first one was
Is he
her
drowning her?
When he
tied up with the
waterboard,
rope.
when he's
But
water,
the
He
second
when he's
waterboards her.
waterboarded.
This, yeah,
The
the
He
second
like
one was
tells her, "I
arms
killed
behind
your
the back."
mom and your
That-
family," sort of stuff.
Yeah.
mm-mm.
And he's
That-
like, "Tell me you were glad."
That oof. I hated
Yeah.
that. I hated hearing that. I didn't watch it because it's so awful, and it's so like rough to watch, and it's so
Because you know this is the beginnings of something else.
you said brainwash. Someone
She's-
said brainwashing.
She's
said
not
brainwashing.
trying to be
Brainwashing,
complicit in
Yeah.
all of
It was
these
awful.
other murders because eventually we see that she is there present because of the videos, because of the tapes, that
What do they
she's
call it?
there in the room at the same time, but like she's not really complicit because she's been brainwashed. She's been like hurt so much that the fact that she's like used to this.
It's awful.
In fan fiction, they
Period.
call it mind breaking.
It's
Jesus Christ.
He's like
Antonio,
breaking- What did you just say?
No.
I'm literally brown sound that out. What the fuck do you call it?
It's called
No.
It's called mind breaking in like fan fiction and shit,
Ah!
or erotic
Not the
fiction.
fan
or
fiction
anything
I
like that.
read.
No.
I'm browning out.
I like to read about joy and comfort in my fan
Slow
fiction.
burn. Sure you do, Ketzel. I feel like that's not
I
true.
do.
But okay.
No, it's absolutely true.
First off, I love a slow burn in fanfiction, but that's not what we're talking about here. That's not what we're talking about here.
I'm
But, like,
I'm about love.
This movie is Dead Dove Do Not Eat, guys.
This is what this is. If I can put a
Me-
giant disclaimer for our listeners, dead dove do not eat. If you
This
are getting
is-
into this, we warned you.
It's literally
Me and Q.
an hour and 26 minutes of fucking snuff film, dude. Like
It's
awful.
126 of Dead Dove.
Dead dove.
It's Dead Dove.
Nothing is good. It doesn't get gooder than the 2 seconds that you see.
You know what?
Of
And
The
that should be the name of the
Shining.
episode, to warn people. Dead dove.
Dead Dove Do Not Eat.
Dead dove disturbed.
Dead Dove does not get gooder.
Dead
The-
dove does not get
the
gooder.
Poughkeepsie Tapes.
Dead Dove Do Not Eat Poughkeepsie.
There we go. Ding, ding, ding.
But
No. Dead Dove Do Not Eat Poo No Keepsie.
Poo no keepsie.
That's just awful. Like,
Tapes.
that
It's so bad.
The second scene with Cheryl's just
No, it's bad.
absurd. It's
So
just
they
awful.
clearly he does a couple of other things.
He does a couple. Yeah, he does a lot of.
He
other
does
stuff.
other things to her. He dresses her in like a maid's hat and puts a mask on her.
It's like she's a wench.
She's like a wench. She becomes a slave.
Yeah.
and He makes her call herself slave. And that
He
was-
manipulates
someone.
her.
That's
yeah.
the first. That's the
manipulates
opening
her.
of her like
So-
abduction.
At this point, like, she's been held captive for so long that she's been brainwashed into being a slave, and he is the master. And also at the same time in the real world, because we're living in the Poughkeepsie Tapes, because we have the disgusting privilege of watching these actual films.
There we go. That's the best way to phrase it.
Yeah, so in the actual police investigation, they are turning against one of their own, actually. A police officer named, I think,
James Foley.
James Foley.
'Cause they find his prints.
Right. They find his prints in a
And his
place.
sperm.
And
his
honestly,
sperm.
that's just kind of like fucked up in the way that like he just kind of got because he was fucking up in his own job. He was a police officer. He was having sex with sex workers. Like, he wasn't doing good. He wasn't standing right. And so like he was a partner to actually one of the people being interviewed in the Poughkeepsie Tapes. And he got because his evidence was everywhere. So like, of course they're going to follow him. And unfortunately, he did get indicted for that, and he also got sentenced to death by lethal injection, of which
He
they
was
accomplished.
convicted and sentenced to the death penalty.
And that was the other thing too, like talking about like
Fucked
he
up.
was having sex with sex workers, is this serial killer we're dealing with. He kept changing up his MO.
Right.
Like it was just
It's like
The
one
perfect
season
serial
it's all
killer.
about prostitutes.
Yep.
Next season it's about little girls. Next season is just rando couples.
It was really hard to target. So
And then other things was like dismemberment methods was another thing. He starts messing around with like a handsaw, and then he's like, oh, we're gonna upgrade to a thing. But this guy was like, oh, we'll do both on the same body.
he's
just
the
to mess with people.
perfect serial killer, truly. And it was so annoying. And you know, the fact that somebody got for this, you know, crime that wasn't even part of it was so awful. And we see the interviews of this guy's son. He's like, that's when my dad got, like, you know, convicted, and he died by lethal injection. It's just so awful to hear those things, because it's just not right, because you know that the right guy didn't get got. And then on top of that, I do love the way that they mixed in real life events, although tragic. 9/11 happened. I think he said my dad he died on September 9th or something like that. And then
he was
he was death by-
executed
yeah.
on the 9th.
And then 9/11 happened, so like, yeah, he was finally cleared of those criminal
9/10.
charges
They
But-
were actually baited.
the day after. And so of course nobody was talking about anything else but 9/11. So anything that had to do with him got, like, you know, swept under the rug, basically. So everybody thinks that the guy that got convicted did it, and they don't know that the real killer's still out there at large. And it's so unfortunate because he is still out there doing this, and to sex workers. So it's just, it's not it. Period.
It's not it, mama.
And then fucking this English woman in the cab moment.
It's not a cab, it's a police. It's a
I
police
know, but
ad.
I'm going to call it a cab because he wasn't a police officer.
He also wasn't a taxi driver.
Ah! Somebody else talk.
Okay. So, sort of one of the final abductions we've seen is this woman who gets picked up and abducted, and it's a very extended scene, horrifying. 0 out of 10 would recommend. And after she gets abducted, we cut to, and this was the only thing I knew of this movie before Antonio ever told me about it.
Me too.
Was I had seen a GIF
'Cause I
of
knew Antonio
motherfucker
had said that to me
walking.
before.
Walking on all fours in his little plain
Stop.
Dr. Theatrical mask
Stop.
to go kill her. In the most horrifying way. Dalia, thoughts?
She's hung up and she doesn't know where she is. She's in a basement and her mouth is covered with duct tape. You see, it's clear duct tape. And that's important for this next part because she is looking around. She can't see behind her. She can't swivel around. And so we see, because this fucking sicko is like on his fucking bullshit, recording her face and her terror. He comes from a corner of the basement, around the corner, on all fours, like literally like the way that you think that a table is, that's a human, like his back is like arched, like he is on all fours crawling over to her.
He downward dogs his way over to the poor lady
Stop.
It's sinister. It's absolutely
with 2 masks
horrifying.
on.
He is walking over on all fours with a mask on his head, and all that we can see is his fake face. And to us, that reads as absolutely horrifying. Not only that, we can't even see his real face, because when he eventually turns up to show what his actual face looked like, not the back of his head, which we were seeing, he's still wearing that fucking Dottore Pest hat or mask. And he fucking uses 2 fingers, like with little pricks on them, and he digs them into her neck, and she dies in front of our face. And she is like, it is so sad. It is so sad. I was very upset for her. And she dies because she was trying to get like the help of another human being. And you know, it makes you not want to believe in humanity. Like, Poughkeepsie Tapes is the kind of movie where you're just like, and I'm sorry, but I saw all these horrible things type of thing. It's horrible.
Eventually, there's what happens is they were looking at a specific set of downloads of a map on MapQuest,
Not map.
which leads them to the house in which the Poughkeepsie Tapes are found. Now, during the raid, which they drop the entire hammer, there's not just the SWAT team, there's dogs, there's a bomb squad. It's everyone and everything that they could possibly throw at a single perpetrator. And they find alive Cheryl Dempsey.
Dalia, I would love to hear your experience watching Cheryl's interview. Because they do interview Cheryl at this point.
First of all, we're all...
After the doctors talk about all the shit she went through, because they were like, this amount of trauma to a person? Holy fucking shit.
It's not, it doesn't happen in America, is
They were
basically
like,
what the
this
guy
is-
says. He's
this
like,
is
you don't see
crazy.
someone born and raised in America have this happen to them.
So, they talk about, like, fucking... I don't even know
her
what they call it.
teeth
Her
getting
teeth
pulled out,
getting
her ribs
pulled.
broken, her bones not being able to settle in, the constant trauma to those bones.
So they talk about that, but then we cut to an interview with Cheryl, like, weeks after, and, like, her... or
She's-
maybe, like, a month after.
We're
I don't even
hopeful.
know.
We're hopeful because she's been rescued, right? Like,
And
she looks somewhat healthy, you know? But she's also a former shell of herself. Whatever we saw of her previously, she's absolutely not that person.
And we
And
right before it cuts,
Go ahead.
before it cuts to the interview of her, we see an interview of her friend, who's like, it's really crazy to see Cheryl, like, because she's just not herself, basically.
and at that point, I think I started crying a lot because
That's where Dalia cried. And honestly, I don't think I ever expected anyone in the world, ever to cry over this movie. So
Yep.
I feel a little bad.
I do too.
I
felt very bad.
I
Me
was
too.
like,
I was like-
she's crying over the Poughkeepsie Tapes. I would expect a lot of emotions, but
because
you know how I didn't expect anything, and I was like, oh, I'll just see where they land. I feel bad that she started to cry over this.
because
Dahlia.
Cheryl
she's
was
cried my
so
whole life.
trauma. I'm so sorry. Because I have the whole box. Because Cheryl is so traumatized by what's happened to her. Like, it's so upsetting. It's so bad what happened to her. And she's just trying to be like, I don't think I want to do this interview anymore. And they're like, but why, Cheryl? Like, we asked you if you wanted to do this interview. And she's just like, I don't know what you want me to say. And she's been just brainwashed so long that she's just kind of built to say, like, I don't know what you want me to say. She's there to take commands. She was living in this kind of slave entitlement thing. And that's all that she knows. Like, she's been traumatized so far that she literally cannot function without being that person anymore. And he broke her to do that. So it was really, really sad. And when you see her, like, wipe, like, the hair out of her face or, like, her tears, you see that her hands have been chopped off. Because he really left her for dead. He didn't care about her, but she's like, I still care. I love him. Like, he'll come back for me. And of course we know that, like, in real life, we're like, God, I hope he never does. And so they say in that interview, like 2 weeks later after they're talking to her, she literally, she says nothing. She says nothing and she's like, I don't know what you want me to say. And she takes her own life. She dies. And so that's the funeral. That's the stuff that we see at the beginning. So presumably we see her body that's being dragged out of the grave from the beginning of the movie, and it's really, really upsetting. Like, he still wants her after the fact, perhaps, but it's so awful that she died feeling like she needed to still be complicit to his crimes. And the fact that he's still doing those crimes, because at the end of all of the credits, like, we see a clip of, like, you get to live if you don't blink. But clearly, as humans, we have to blink. And so...
So, when she puts her hands up, that was wild.
That was the thing that Ketzel had told me, and had Ketzel not told me that, I would have been like, huh! Like, 'cause
Sorry,
it's
the
so-
nod hands.
I remember that as
It's
well.
so-
The first time I watched
That
that.
made me gasp. Like, that was the most visceral, one of the most visceral reactions I've had to a
Very
film
visceral.
ever.
Wait, let's just finish off that he never fucking gets got.
He never gets got.
And his most recent kill is him haunting the body of Cheryl Dempsey.
So wait.
That's-
No. The most recent kill is the lady who can't blink.
We don't know if that's the most recent kill, though.
We don't know.
No, I mean that's the most recent shown, or the
Well,
last
yeah, but
kill.
the
last
the
shown.
last thing he does is take Cheryl's body, and then
Yeah.
that's
Where it starts at
we
the beginning,
started,
where-
and then that's where we end, basically.
What
did you want to touch base on?
So
I let's get into this.
I have always wondered, because out of the number of tapes, of which there are thousands, a couple thousand at least,
I did have
that are recovered, 27 out of 2,000 tapes are never recovered. And so I've always wondered if they ever wanted to make a sequel or something parallel to it using those 27 tapes.
So because that was a point I wanted to make. What do you think they were? Because the guy did list. He was like, did he show his face? Were they too personal? Were they like too crazy? Like he wanted to keep them for himself? Like, what do you guys think those 27 tapes were.
Oh, I have no speculations. It could be the
Balloon
fact that
stuff.
more balloon shit and he shows his face, or maybe he actually confesses his love for Cheryl, and maybe he really does have feelings for Cheryl, and that's why he kept those tapes and went back for her body.
Why
Or-
would he even start stalking her in the first place if he didn't really love her? Whatever
Right?
his version of
Or
love
maybe
was.
he
'cause I
maybe
don't
he
think
knew
it was
Cheryl.
Love. I don't think
I-
necessarily it was
I
love.
think it's-
but,
Oh,
like, I think it was
obsession.
Yeah, his
I truly
obsession.
think it's something where
it was,
he
like,
It could be a
his
combination
humanity is
thereof.
revealed.
Keep for
His
himself.
humanity is revealed in some
Yeah,
way that he
and that
doesn't
maybe
want
that's
to.
kind of gross. Maybe that's
something
like
that
wrong.
they would get him for. Something that could possibly figure out,
Tie him
who he is.
to those
Yeah.
crimes.
I think it was like his favorites. Like I don't think it was something they could have caught him for. I think it was something that he was like, "Oh, you guys can have these, but these are for me."
The other thing that, and it's disproven like pretty much immediately, because of the actual movie. But one person, I think, when I was when I was reading about it on Reddit, is the guy was like, "What if it's actually the interviewer who is the killer?" He's like making the documentary.
I've seen that. I've seen this theory before.
But
Oh.
the problem, and that's why Cheryl goes, "I don't know what you want me to say," because she specifically knows it's him, and she does not know what what he wants her to say. During that entire interview, he came back for her, but she was like, "I don't know what you want me to say."
I
don't know what
can't
you wanna
recall,
say."
but I feel like it's not the same voice.
No, exactly, and it's kind of like, it's
Different
kind of immediately.
inflection.
And the other thing is, Mom has seen this guy, so
Yeah.
she wouldn't let this guy into her house.
Right.
But it's close enough to make you think like, maybe.
The
Just like kind of like
possibilities.
the
There's a
possibility.
lot of like, and this is what I hate.
He's also
Let
an
me-
actor,
Let me
clearly.
tell you. Like David Lynch has a lot of open endings in his films, and I hate that. Although I love his work, hate that. Open-ended films where you're just like, I don't know what happens afterwards, and he was never caught at the end. I'm like, are you joking? Because we have this last scene that tells us some things. So I feel like there's more to be told. I hate that.
So, did you think it was worth a watch?
So, Dalia, is it a worth a watch? And I'm gonna close this question a little bit off. Is it worth a watch for people who like horror movies? Because I'm not gonna expect everyone to want to watch this, and I don't want you to say
You're
yes
right.
to that.
You're right, because as a normal movie viewer, I feel like I would be the typical movie viewer out of all of us. I don't think it was worth a watch. As a horror movie enthusiast, I would say yes. I would skew along the lines of yes, only because it leaves me guessing, because I don't know what happens afterwards. There's so much that feels like it's left untold. There's so much of the disgustingness of humanity that begs the question, is there more to be told? And that's the part that fucks me up the most. So yeah, as a normal
So it's a
viewer,
good story.
as a normal viewer, I would not watch this, but as a person who really likes true crime at the same time, my interest is piqued.
If
Like,
you're
I
goal is to
would've-
watch Mission
I would've
Impossible,
watched
Fast
this.
and Furious,
No,
Star
no.
Wars,
As
you don't
a
have
true
to watch
crime.
this. But if you like true crime, you like horror, the lady says yes.
So, solid cast.
Yeah, I think they
Let's-
are scary. How
Okay.
How innocent they are.
how solid.
Okay,
Yes.
hot/solid cast.
Not a hot
Solid.
cast, but definitely
Solid.
solid. I never want
Um,
to see these people again in my entire life. If I see anybody resembling Cheryl Dempsey, I'm running.
running to
Mama.
save or
Anybody who
Running
wears
away.
a plague doctor mask is immediately an ick to me. You're
Hi,
ick.
Ketzel.
I don't think that was her.
Hi,
I think that was
Ketzel.
him, no?
No. But like, I feel so awful for Cheryl Dempsey that I just simply cannot see a person like her. I cannot remember the state that she was in because I have so much sympathy. And if I just see a fucking plague doctor mask, like, fuck that fucking shit. And if Ketzel's reaching for their plague doctor mask, like, they can just fuck off, dude. I no longer want to be friends anymore. They cannot hear me at this point.
I'm gonna be my.
Soundtrack score. I don't remember a soundtrack. I don't remember a score.
I definitely remember soundtrack/scores during the parts that I'm like, well, this just kind of breaks the rules. But I think that the content is just there and it performs well enough for me to like let it be. And also that opening song, which I was saying a few minutes ago, that song where it's just like la la la,
It's
la,
very
la,
The
la,
Shining-esque.
it's so like,
The
oh,
music,
this is, we're
not
starting.
so much, but the cinematography for
The
sure.
vibe.
Yeah, and it's just that like whatchamacallit, like bird's eye aerial drone view sort of situation with that, because the fucking Cannibal Holocaust does the same thing. They have like these opening songs and they just set the tone.
Once again, I'll say it one more time. The theme for Cannibal Holocaust, I love, because me and Kessel literally were like, don't even play it.
It's like it's like a lullaby.
Night,
It's
night.
twisted how much of a lullaby it is, because
It's twisted. I'll
I'll
contradict him.
okay, it's
Lies on
unhinged.
his lips,
You
I
guys are
think.
done. You can't do the bit that quick.
But no. But it is so like innocent in a way.
It
Oh,
is.
yeah.
The movie you're watching.
I
you're
can-
like,
I get
this
that.
Don't add up.
I
And
get
it's
that.
weird, and that's one of those reasons why, like, at the beginning, I'll put this movie fucking on sometimes.
That's
and,
very
like, that lullaby
Lauren.
song, and I'll be
Like,
asleep.
night-night.
Before anything terrible happens, I'm asleep.
Can I just tell you that, like, Life is Strange, when you were like, I like Warren, I was just like, bitch, fuck you.
Hey, and Nathan's just a tortured soul. He listens to whale songs.
Anyway.
Costume design
Anyway.
/ set design / location.
The Torre Peste
Real babe.
costume.
Loved the Torre Peste. Like, we loved a little bit of Italian culture, cinematography,
Tavern wench?
theatrics.
Tavern wench
Tavern
mannequin?
wench.
/ furniture. She looks like
Um,
furniture.
Creepy. Good at creepy.
Complete ominous black suit plus very freaky mask.
How about them set designs? Suburbia.
Suburbia. There's nothing. Okay, let me tell you. I don't think I will
Suburbia.
ever want to visit the Midwest ever because that makes me
I was
feel
going
like
for
that's
Rihanna.
there. And I know this was like filmed in Poughkeepsie, which I think was. Is Poughkeepsie in New York?
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
it's Poughkeepsie,
it is.
New York.
So I just feel like that's just the most ominous.
But
of
it could
all.
also, I don't know if this is actually Poughkeepsie, New York, or if it's supposed to be like a fictionalized Poughkeepsie.
No,
'Cause it could
it's
also be somewhere else.
Poughkeepsie.
No, it's Poughkeepsie.
Okay, it's definitely New York, New York.
When they pulled up the map, when they were
Yeah, it's
talking
New York.
about like the bodies, the torso being left here and the head and hands being left here.
It's
And
not far from
so
and a lot of
there's-
it, like in Reading, there a lot of the towns they mentioned are in Pennsylvania, like Reading, PA. is
Yeah.
right around.
You should
Yeah.
watch out.
There's just nothing more sinister than using actual towns in old New England. And I'm going to say old New England because I don't want to consider New England. It's just the East Coast. But it's fucking freaky, dude. So, yeah, good shit. Good shit because it seems normal. Totally not. Favorite quotes?
None.
Pop it!
That
I-
echo.
Hated that.
God.
I don't know why, but
I've
fuck,
repressed
dude.
everything.
That's why I was like, dude, it happens within like the first 5 minutes of this fucking movie, and the balloon scene where he screams "Pop it" just fucking sits there for no reason.
What part was it that we were laughing because we were like, not this part being shown at this part.
Because it
And
was
like
a very
close-up of
emotional
her face,
part.
and we were like, not this.
I'll agree.
Okay.
I don't have
okay.
a quote.
Okay.
No one
Okay.
has a
Ready?
quote.
Ready? Now, as the loser, Dalia, do you think this was worth all the hype we have given it? All of us saying like, "Yo, wait, do you see Poughkeepsie? This fucking we felt empty. We felt empty." Do you think it was it lived up to that?
Do we? Set
I
the
feel like it
bar
lived up
too
to the
high?
bar of you guys saying it's not worth it. It's definitely not worth the hype it's received in the way that you should watch this. Absolutely don't fucking watch this film. Unless you want to be hurt, unless you've been desensitized to true crime, unless you absolutely love horror, there's no reason for you to watch this movie. A tender
Didn't you
heart
just say
like
that they should watch it?
a tender heart like
I said
you should not
No,
watch
she
this
said,
film.
you should watch it. That's why when at the beginning I was like, we're gonna close it off for horror movie fans
Well,
only.
Yeah, no, and then I said if you like
Yeah.
movies in general.
Let me tell you, it was a great film in the way of storytelling because it really told a story that takes you on a very emotional journey. However, as a person who feels a lot of feelings and the friend of friends who enjoy like true crime and horror, this is not the film for you. If you have a tender heart, it's just not for you.
But are you tender-hearted though?
I feel like I am tender-hearted because I really was I was crying for Cheryl because she didn't deserve this.
Because Dalia is an empath.
I was also drunk.
Yeah, she's.
Let's
also
not
been
forget
drinking a little bit.
I've been drinking, but also I've been feeling really, really bad. I put myself in her shoes. It's a story about Cheryl, but also her killer hopefully getting caught. And you know what? He doesn't. If you love happy endings, this is not the movie for you.
No. Well, sorry.
Well, yeah.
sorry.
So yeah, I don't.
No.
I feel like. Did I miss out on not having seen this? Fuck no, dude. I could have lived a whole 1,000 lives without watching this, and I would have been just fine.
But
Coming out of my
Dalia,
cage,
Dalia.
doing just fine.
But Dalia, do you still love us though?
The Dalia.
No, bro, you guys subjected me to like emotional torture. This was just awful. Like,
Dalia gets to choose the next 5 movies.
All right, I do have a question though. How do you guys feel on your rewatch?
I'll let you go first.
I feel just as horrified as before. I mean, nothing will beat the first watch where I straight up didn't know what was happening. But you watched me. I still watched this and was like, I had to look away at some points. I did find joy in this just from watching Dalia. So
That's the newest experience for me.
yeah,
watching
That's
the
what it is.
loser brings.
I can wait. I can wait
Watching
another
someone
3 years.
see it and in fact, you know what? I think that's what it is with this movie for me at this point. Every time I watch it, I fucking create a brand new fucking Horcrux, I swear.
Yeah, that's what it feels like.
Damn.
It feels like we created a Horcrux.
I have seen this movie time and time again. Just actually left it on just as background noise from time to time. But watching someone see it for the first time and getting or seeing what they feel or what they react at this time, it was just like, well, this is that's the experience of that. It's not seeing the movie again. It's seeing the person react to it.
So
Yeah.
watching it with someone new.
Yeah. That's what it
I was
is.
gonna say,
That's what it is for me.
I think now that Dahlia's seen it, I am okay with never watching this movie again.
100%.
I will probably watch it one more time because
Just
I told
one more
Frank
again,
about
one
it.
more again.
I told Frank about
Oh,
it,
good for
and I was
you.
like,
Frank's gonna be like, it's not that.
Oh, good for
he probably
Frankel.
will, and I'll be like every time. But I will probably watch it at least one more time, and then after that,
You can go up to 3.
Guaranteed
Like
he
with me.
will.
see it again.
Uncomfortable laugh
But
to
this
that.
is my second time watching it, so that will have been my third time. This is your third time watching it.
Yeah, and I'm done.
This is like
so
your
I'm good.
millionth time watching it. Poughkeepsie Tapes is crazy. So glad we did this together.
I want to forget this so much.
That was my thoughts after seeing it.
I
the
know. I
first
feel so like maybe my life went wrong when I watched this movie. It's been so many years.
And where
That's
did
how
I
it
go
went
wrong?
Thank you guys so much for listening to Sit Down Loser.
We're watching a snuff
movie.
film.
Catch you guys next time.
Antonio. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. You were bigger than the whole sky. All right, I'm done.
Damn.
Goodbye.
Do y'all just want to listen to Taylor Swift album to make you happier?
I will.